Leaving the United States is physically simple. You board a flight and arrive in a new country. But migrating your financial identity is different. Right now, over 35 million Americans currently live or work abroad. While you might quickly adapt to a new time zone or currency, the institutions holding your money are incapable of moving with you. Federal tax authorities and domestic banks strictly demand a physical footprint. They require a domestic address to keep accounts open and send critical correspondence. Moving your body overseas is a straightforward logistical step. Failing to anchor your financial identity before you leave is a trap that can quickly dismantle your life abroad. Your U.S. financial identity relies on 3 load-bearing pillars: your bank, the IRS, and state registries. These KYC federal mandates require banks to verify a domestic physical location. Inputting a foreign address breaks this compliance. The consequences are automated and immediate. Banks will freeze your credit cards, lock your assets, and cut off access to your funds, often while you are thousands of miles from home. The government's demand for a domestic paper trail is deeply historical and unyielding. It extends directly to your long-term benefits and social safety nets. Expats generally attempt 3 methods to solve this mandate: drafting a relative, renting a P.O. box, or hiring a virtual mailbox service. Securing a domestic address provides the mandatory operational infrastructure required to prevent a total financial freeze. The path of least financial resistance is using a friend or family member's address. It is highly favored by new expats trying to save money. The plan relies on successfully funneling all your legal, financial, and government correspondence to a relative's house at 0 financial cost. This method requires heavy, recurring manual labor. You are asking untrained family members to sort, open, scan, and repackage your mail on a regular basis. This creates severe delays in receiving critical government notices. It also completely exposes your sensitive financial data to your relatives. While this address is legally valid to banks, it relies entirely on ad hoc human reliability. Over a long-term absence, that reliability eventually breaks down. Using a family address does not eliminate the cost of compliance. It simply shifts the cost from your wallet to a high-risk interpersonal burden. The traditional USPS post office box is the legacy institutional option, used historically by travelers for decades. It requires a very low monthly fee and provides a highly secure, government-run landing spot for physical envelopes. But P.O. boxes are now actively flagged and rejected by automated financial compliance systems. State business registries and federal KYC laws strictly forbid the use of P.O. boxes for legal registrations or identity verification. Logistically, the post office offers highly restricted, limited options for actually forwarding those packages internationally once they arrive in the box. A P.O. box provides physical security for an envelope, but provides 0 institutional validity for your legal existence. The third path is the compliance-grade virtual mailbox. Services like GetMyUSMail.com are specifically engineered to bypass the flaws of family members and P.O. boxes. There is upfront friction. Users must navigate federal bureaucracy by completing a remote notarization of USPS Form 1583. This form legally authorizes the facility to handle your mail. The output of this friction is securing a legally recognized actual street address in Massachusetts that satisfies all banking and government requirements. Once set up, users manage their U.S. mail from anywhere in the world through a 24/7 digital portal, directing the facility to scan, shred, or forward items. You also gain the ability to have physical checks remotely deposited directly into a U.S. bank account without the paper ever leaving Massachusetts. Upgrading to a business mailbox tier introduces a registered agent. This is a legally designated contact required for anyone operating a U.S. LLC from abroad. This completely separates personal liability from public records while fulfilling state corporate mandates. A virtual mailbox requires navigating initial paperwork and a recurring fee, but it successfully converts unpredictable bureaucratic emergencies into a managed, predictable system. Choosing the right infrastructure depends entirely on the duration of your absence and the complexity of the ties you leave behind. The first archetype is the short-term traveler, someone leaving the U.S. for less than 6 months. If this is you, avoid paid services. A temporary USPS mail hold or a trusted family member is sufficient. The risk of a compliance audit in a 6-month window is extremely low. The second archetype is the permanent expat, retiree, or digital nomad, who has severed physical ties for the foreseeable future. Relying on a P.O. box for this cohort introduces specific financial risks, including compounding IRS penalties for missed audit notices that average over $28,000. For the long-term expat, the catastrophic risk of a single missed government notice vastly outweighs the $35 monthly cost of a dedicated virtual mailbox. The final archetype is the international entrepreneur or student, operating an entity within the United States from abroad. Ad hoc solutions are actively destructive here. Using a residential family address for business filings destroys your professional credibility and exposes your relatives to corporate liability. This decision matrix maps address solutions by risk and cost. To operate safely, entrepreneurs must utilize a business-tier virtual mailbox for a Massachusetts registered agent. It contrasts a $299 digital address against the exorbitant expense of leasing commercial U.S. real estate. You can save a few dollars by cobbling together favors from family, or you can invest in an institutional-grade foundation. In a globally mobile world, maintaining a legitimate U.S. address is the non-negotiable infrastructure required to keep your American identity alive.